Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.
He's written a million great books, The Killing Series, his book on the presidents, Confronting Evil. He's got a brand new book out coming again in September like he does most years. His podcast, we'll do it live. That's killing it. News Nation, Cuomo, Stephen A. Smith, that's killing it. O'Reilly, I know you just got back from vacation in Ireland, but honestly, introducing you every Thursday is exhausting. Exhausting.
Even listening to it is exhausting. But I appreciate all the mentions. I wasn't just on vacation in Ireland. We went over to England to do a story which will interest you. It'll be an hour special on News Nation about the growing tension between Muslims and old guard English.
Oh, fantastic. It's an issue. In fact,
and it's
big issue.
It's getting violent.
Yeah.
Yep. So we were in Edgware Road, which is entirely run by Muslims. And the Muslim influence in Great Britain is they have 60 Sharia courts now that handle civil cases. It's just stunning. And the numbers are staggering. I flew in from Cork, Ireland. Nobody checked anything. I just got off the plane, walked through the terminal, got in a car, went to London. They didn't know I was there. They didn't know who I was or anything like that. And 250 passengers had the same treatment. So you can just walk on in. And the point of view of the special is this cannot happen here because of geography. You're not going to get millions of Muslims coming over to the United States. However, you can get it. A change in culture and even some very unpleasant incidents by letting South Americans, Central Americans, Mexicans in. And if Kamala Harris were elected, that's exactly what would be happening right now.
She's going to run again.
Sealed up that border.
Yeah. Yep.
Or done anything with ICE at all.
Nope.
So you would have all the criminal aliens running around setting up their crime syndicates here. And I know Geraldo jumping up and down will say, oh, the Americans do it too. I've heard that argument a million times, so have you. That's no excuse to allow anarchy. And in the UK, it's almost anarchy. One of the heartbreaking things that I saw was in a neighborhood called Gobler's Green, which is Jewish. And there's about 220,000 Jews in the UK. I would say at this point there are 8 million Muslims.
I know.
So
yeah.
Jews are outnumbered.
Yeah.
Jews are scared.
Yep. Should be. I mean, it was amazing a couple of weeks ago that there was such a pro-Israel rally in London because, and I know it very well too, because, you know, my daughter went to school in Wales, so Danielle and I spent a lot of time over that 3-year period in London. Your son Spencer went there too. And look, they've got the London mayor happens to be a Muslim, like our mayor is here in New York, and they allow these people, the Jew haters, which outnumber the Jews, like you said, in a big way, to run wild, just like we do here in New York City. So you've just nailed it. Yeah, millions aren't going to come here, but there are a lot of similarities, which means if you are a Jew living in New York City and take a look at London, you should be scared.
Yeah, and what happens is that if you have a government, which they do have in London, that's running the country but refuses to control public safety, then you're in serious trouble. That's what's happening in California. That's why you saw Hilton get a lot of votes. We did the San Francisco thing. I was out there showing you exactly what was happening. You've got to have a public safety component. And when you have millions and millions of foreign nationals pouring in, people don't even know who they are or what they're doing, that vanishes, that disappears. So that's what would have happened had Harris beaten Trump. And people have forgotten about that now.
People,
and it's still a major issue because the Democratic Party does not want any constraints on mass migration. None.
Well, that should be the rallying cry for us. Let's assume the worst. Let's assume the worst, and the Iran thing is still not over, because a lot of people can talk till they're blue in the face, including my dear friend President Trump. I'm not convinced this thing is going to be over anytime soon. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I just don't see it. So that's going to hurt us. But if our rallying cry is what you're talking about right now, Bill O'Reilly, then we've got something huge to fight with come November.
Yeah, but see, the problem is that people forget, and then their personal situations override, the emotion of their own lives override any kind of step-back analysis. Now, something that no one's talking about that's certainly in play is that inflation inside Iran is now about 80%. And this is what President Trump is relying upon. He's not telling us this, but I know it, that you cannot run a country when people can't buy bread. You can't buy food. And with inflation at 80%, 80, because they're starved now economically, the Iranian mullahs, they may be causing trouble, but they can't get products in and out of there. And so the people who live there, the 70 million, mostly Persians, are beginning to starve. And what Trump is doing is he's waiting to see if that will be enough to collapse the government without us going in and killing civilians and bombing the hell out of them.
Right. And we've heard
That's
that.
where we are right now.
And we've heard that, Larry Kudlow was on this show a couple of days ago. He talked about exactly what they're talking about now. And the guy that's been very honest about that happens to be Scott Bessent, that we are literally strangling them. Now, you gave the real number, 80%. Those people are starving to death. So, yes, that is Trump's plan. He's hoping that will help cave in the government. We'll see. But that is the plan. You've just nailed it, Bill O'Reilly. For folks out there that are saying, what is he waiting for? That's it. And those numbers are true, and those people are starving. So, hopefully, Trump and Bessent are onto something here. I mean, what do you think? I know I ask you this every week, but it is kind of the big story for the Republicans. How much longer do you think this goes on?
I don't know, and it's not irresponsible of me to guess because I don't have the sit reps every morning that are given to President Trump. And Miranda Devine pretty much said the same thing. It's very hard for journalists to know. For example, is Netanyahu dust up with Trump? Okay, what that was about, and again, this is never reported. All that's reported is Trump cursed at Netanyahu. Well, let me break this to everybody. Trump curses at everybody. Okay?
Everybody, right?
Now, I think you have to be 17 and over to get cursed at. But and most every president, with the exception maybe of Washington and Lincoln and Jefferson, cursed at everybody.
Of course.
They curse.
Yes.
Okay? What this was all about was that Trump is adamant that no more aggression is entered into the conflict with Iran until it gets more defined. So it don't want Netanyahu bombing in Lebanon or even Hamas, although they are assassinating Hamas leaders, and I support that. Okay? He wants them to pull back until his strategy, whatever it may be, unfolds. It's not an unreasonable position.
No.
So just hold your fire here until we see what we can get.
Yeah.
That was the genesis of the phone call.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nobody reports it,
no.
But that's what
But
happened.
also, just so you know, because you're right about assassinating Hamas leadership, the guy that abducted Hersh Goldberg, who kind of became the face of the hostages. Everybody knows Rebecca and John Goldberg. His arm got blown off inside a one of those bomb shelters, and eventually he was executed in a tunnel. They actually found and killed the guy responsible for abducting Hersh Goldberg out of one of those bomb shelters. But just, I know you know this, but that was the conversation. And Bibi said, okay. And then Bibi afterwards said, we're going to do what we have to do. So Bibi did not.
It's not as simple as we're going to have to do what we have to do. There's a time mechanism on it. Okay, Trump's not saying to Israel, you can't do X. He's saying, wait, give me some room.
Listen to me. If Hezbollah sends a rocket to Israel, do you realize that this morning, as you and I are speaking, it is unreasonable. And I love Trump. Do you realize, as you and I are speaking right now, that Hezbollah has fired rockets again into Israel? Bibi's not going to take the Scud missiles. Those days are over. So, again, we're not getting bombed in Cincinnati. We're not getting bombed in Brooklyn or Los Angeles. So it is unreasonable to ask Bibi to just sit there and take it. Forget about Hezbollah and Israel fighting in Lebanon. They have now this morning sent missiles. The sirens are going off as we speak to Israel. Bibi is not going to sit there. That's not him.
Okay. But he's got to confer then with the Defense Department of the U.S. to make sure that this thing is done methodically. So these rockets were really fired by Iran. Hezbollah takes its orders from Iran.
Correct.
Okay, and Iran's now doing a walk around saying, "Oh, we're not doing it. The Hezbollahs are doing it." Well, you're telling them to do it, because if you told them not to do it, they couldn't do it.
And they funded them to begin with.
Yeah, and not only funded them, they give them the ordnance.
Right.
So it's a very, very complicated thing. But if you are a commander, as Trump is, you have to try to get your strategy ingrained, and sometimes that causes a restraint order. And World War II is the best example. I'm not going to get into the history of it, but Eisenhower was very smart in the way he didn't hit the Germans all at once with Patton and everything. He waited, he feinted, and then he got around them. Now, I don't have a lot of confidence in Pete Hegseth. I said that from the very beginning. I don't. I could be wrong. Again, I don't get the report.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But at this point, all right, I think Trump still has a grasp of the situation. Certainly, we're not losing, but politically, he's taken hell here in the United States, and I don't know how long that will last. I do know the NBA Finals are going to last another 10 days. I can tell you that. Okay? And I'm glad the president's going to the game on Monday. He needs a little relief, and I hope people are respectful at Madison Square Garden. It's always dicey.
Well, that was my next question. So he's going to be there Monday, and Bruce Blakeman's going to be there. And I was actually going to ask you if you were going to be there. I know you were in the box with President Trump, with Randy Levine at Yankee Stadium last summer. The president is coming back to a Yankee game this year. I can't tell you when, but he's going to be here again. But regardless, there's a lot of liberals in that arena, from Ben Stiller to Spike Lee. How do you think President Trump will be accepted on Monday night?
It'll be a mixed reception, I think. But if the Knicks win tomorrow night, the crowd will be more benign. So they'll be sensing that their championship is coming quickly.
Right. Right.
And the Knicks should win. Because if you watch the game last night, I'm not a sports guy. You know a lot more about sports than I do.
No, you're pretty good. Stop it. You actually told me one time about Eli Manning's throwing velocity. Come on, Bill.
Well, all right. I mean, I played all the games my whole life when I was a kid. It kept me out of the penitentiary. But if you watch the game closely, and I always do that, I'm not screaming up and down and, drinking 8 buds. That's not how I watch sports. What really was interesting is that San Antonio has no answer.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?